the 2024 election finally over, how will a second Trump presidency affect the housing market? From his history of tax cuts and deregulation to his push for economic growth, there are some major changes that could be on the horizon. Will we see more affordable homes or increased prices as we head into 2025? Today, we're going to discuss some of the potential impacts of Trump's policies on homeowners, renters, and investors. Stick around until the end because we'll be diving into what this could mean for your real estate strategy in 2025 and how you can best prepare. So let's get started. Angela, and if this is your first time to my channel and you want to know all about Cincinnati, Ohio living and all things real estate, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications. And if you're thinking about making a move here in the greater Cincinnati area, you can reach me at 513-951-3584. I'd love to hear from you. First, I want to touch on some of the key points of the housing market. Right now, we're seeing a market that is far from balanced. Inventory is tight, with only about 4 months of available homes for sale nationally, which is below the usual 5 to 6 months that signals a balanced market. According to the NAR, the total housing inventory registered at the end of October was up slightly, almost 1% from September, and up about 19% from 1 year ago. At the current sales pace, this is about a 4-month supply of inventory, which is up slightly from this time last year. And as far as the median home value goes, in October it was about $407,000, which is up 4% from 1 year ago at this time. Plus, all 4 U.S. regions registered price increases. In an article from the NAR, they go on to say that in the Midwest, existing home sales were up just over 1% from the prior year. And in October of 2024, the median price in the Midwest was about $305,000, up about 7% from this time last year. And then here locally in Cincinnati, the median sale price is definitely more affordable than the national at $235,000. But inventory is a little tighter than the national average, with just about 1 to 2 months supply of inventory on the market. The current home prices that have sold recently and that are on the market currently, they range anywhere from $10,000 to $6.9 million. And while we have seen a shift here in the market lately with more price reductions and longer days on market, it is still technically considered a seller's market here. Plus, rents are also climbing still, with the median rent here in Cincinnati at about $1,400 a month. And if you're in a different market and you want to know how to figure out the absorption rate or the inventory, the months of inventory that you have in your current market, to calculate that, you find the total number of active listings on the market last month, and you find the total number of sold transactions for the last month, and you divide the number of active listings by the number of sales to determine the number of months of inventory remaining. If you're thinking about making a move and you have some questions, you can book a Zoom call with me and we can chat just like this, or we can meet in person if you're local. You can find that link in the description box below. All right, now on to what you came for. Here in Cincinnati and all over the country actually, home prices are on the rise and inventory is still limited. So what can we expect over the next 4 years with Donald Trump as our president? Let's start with his proposed policies. On the campaign trail, he promised a few key moves that could shake things up in real estate. First, Trump is pushing for tariffs on imports. 60% on goods from China and 20% on other imports. While this aims to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S., it could have a big impact on home building costs. Building materials like steel and lumber could become more expensive, driving up the cost of new homes. And as anyone in real estate knows, higher costs for new construction could mean fewer new homes hitting the market or the price for new construction homes increasing. This brings us to another important factor that could impact new construction: Trump's stance on immigration, particularly his plans to ramp up deportations and curb illegal immigration. According to a report from Construction Dive, an estimated 23% of the construction workforce is made up of undocumented or illegal immigrants. Now, while this statistic could likely be debated, it highlights a critical issue. The construction industry is already facing a shortage of roughly 500,000 workers, according to the National Association of Homebuilders. If we were to lose a quarter of the workforce due to stricter immigration policies, it could increase the labor shortage, driving up the cost of building materials and labor, and ultimately push home prices even higher. But one other variable to consider here is whether or not he will increase or decrease the number of H-2B visas. The H-2B visa program provides temporary foreign workers to industries like construction, helping to address labor shortages. During his first administration, Donald Trump nearly doubled the number of H-2B visas available in 2019. However, in June of 2020, his administration suspended the program, saying it was to protect U.S. workers from job competition due to the economic downturn caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. I know that here in Cincinnati, the landscaping businesses took a huge hit when this happened because most of their laborers came from the H-2B program. So it's uncertain what he will do in his second term. This leads me to the next aspect to consider, which is the impact on home builders and new construction costs. For home builders, Trump's approach could offer a much-needed relief. He's been vocal about cutting red tape and reducing regulations on new construction. The National Association of Homebuilders has pointed out that the government regulations add 25% to the cost of building a single-family home. Less regulation means homebuilders can move faster and at a lower cost, potentially increasing the supply of new homes. One thing to note here is that if you want to see housing affordability improve, then you want to see more inventory. Remember, 5 to 6 months of inventory is a balanced market. And in order to see more inventory, one of the ways you can do this is by increasing the home building. And speaking of new construction, there are a lot of really awesome developments here in the Cincinnati area. I'd love to connect with you and see if any of them would be a good fit for you. You can give me a call or shoot me a text at 513-951-3584 or email me at ange.sells.cincy@gmail.com. All right, now back to it. So there is a catch with reducing regulations on home builders and new construction costs. While in theory, it would spur more new construction, the shortage of skilled labor and increased material costs that we discussed earlier, not only because of the tariffs and immigration policies, but also because of the rebuilding taking place after storms have demolished parts of North Carolina, Tennessee, and Florida in 2024. This could limit how much new construction is actually able to happen going into 2025. Trump also plans to cut income and corporate taxes. If these cuts pass, it could leave buyers with more disposable income, which could in turn boost demand. But it could also lead to more inflation, which ultimately drives up mortgage rates. So even with purchasing power, higher interest rates could offset some of that benefit. In fact, we could see a situation where more demand meets rising rates, making affordability even harder to achieve, especially for that first-time home buyer. While Trump has talked about wanting to have lower mortgage rates, it's unclear if economic conditions will allow for that. If inflation stays high, we might see rates hold steady or even rise, which would continue to put pressure on affordability. It is worth noting that Trump could have influence on the Federal Reserve, with some key positions in the Fed up for renewal over the next 2 years, and he may try to put someone in those positions that align with his agenda a little bit more and ultimately push for lower rates to help stimulate the economy. As with most things, any proposed policies or changes come with risks. High consumer debt and the potential for rising mortgage rates could lead to continued affordability issues, especially for those first-time homebuyers. Trump's push to release Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac from their 16-year conservatorship, which ultimately means that they are under the control of the government. It could mean big changes for mortgage rates and availability. If these entities go private, mortgage rates could become more competitive, but it's unclear at this point how this would affect affordability in the long term. Which of Trump's policies do you think is going to have the biggest impact on housing? Are there any others that I didn't mention today that you think are going to be game-changing policies? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think the impact is going to be from the Trump administration on the housing market. I'd love to hear from you. Now, looking on to next year, there are some different forecasts on the horizon, but across the board, All of the experts agree that there is going to continue to be a rise in the home value, somewhere in the 2 to 4% range. The market nationally and locally is shifting, and unfortunately, the housing affordability crisis isn't going to be solved overnight. It's hard to say for sure how the Trump administration will really impact housing, but I do hope that he can make America affordable again and bring back the American dream for everyone. The best thing that you can do as we head into 2025 is to stay informed on the policies that are going into effect once Trump is in office, which you can do by talking to your local realtor, like me, to make sure that you're aware of any relevant changes that will impact you buying or selling in Cincinnati. I can also help you navigate the home building process if that's the route that you choose to take. Just don't forget to message me first before you submit that inquiry on their website or before you stop by a model home just to check it out. And make sure you hit subscribe and tap the bell for notifications, because if there are any major changes that you need to know as we head into 2025 and beyond, I'll be covering it with a video right here on my channel. So I hope you found this video helpful as we covered some of the potential changes that could be happening in the housing market as we head into 2025. And as we move into the new year, remember, each real estate journey is unique, and it's important to make decisions based on your specific situation. If you're wondering if it's the right time to buy or sell a home, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd love to help you navigate your options. You can reach me at 513-951-3584 or email at ange.sells.cincy@gmail.com. And if you think someone else would like this video, be sure to share the link with them. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in the next one.